Okay, so when most of us think about Céline Dion, we think about that voice, you know, the ballads, the raw emotion, just the sheer power that, well, it defined music for decades.
Absolutely. But if you really dig into the sources we've gathered, that voice, it was almost like the product she was selling. The real story, the fascinating part, is the strategy she used to actually sell it.
Yeah, the business side.
Exactly. What's amazing here is that this global icon is also fundamentally a meticulous business mastermind. Forbes, in a 2025 estimate, they pegged her empire at around $570 million.
Wow.
And she got there not by chasing every single trend, but by quietly, deliberately putting these long-term structural business decisions in place. Decisions that, critics initially just didn't get. They kind of dismissed them.
Right. So our mission today is really to decode those moves. I mean, she started out in Charlemagne, Quebec, and faced critics who said her sound was, too emotional, too simple, things like that.
Yeah, pretty harsh critiques early on. But she built something far more complex, far more strategic than maybe her music alone suggested. We're kind of calling it the silent diva mindset.
The silent diva mindset. I like that.
It's really about durability, It's built on sharp financial architecture, absolute control over her brand, and this vision that stretched decades beyond just the next album cycle.
Okay.
So we sort of synthesized the material we looked at into 6 core pillars. Pillars of a timeless strategy that show how she converted that incredible talent into lasting, tangible equity.
Okay, let's dive in. Pillar 1, trading moments for models. This sounds like it's about the money, the financial architecture she built early on.
It is. Her current net worth, that $570 million figure, it's really the outcome of some smart financial engineering. It's not just concert receipts or album sales, which, let's face it, can be incredibly volatile income streams in the music business.
Right. Super unpredictable.
He seemed to look at her voice almost like equity, an asset that could be leveraged across different, more predictable revenue streams.
And that diversification, that really sets her apart from so many artists, doesn't it? If you're trying to build something that lasts, you can't just trade your time for money indefinitely.
Exactly.
Take her partnership with Coty Inc., for example. Yeah. Céline Dion perfumes. That became huge. The sources say by 2010, that line alone had sold over $850 million worth of products.
Which is just an astounding figure. I mean, when you see numbers like that, it tells you her name wasn't just slapped on a product as decoration. Her name was the asset class. The philosophy there seems really profound, to focus on building structures, not just chasing stardom. And that allowed her to benefit from long-term profit sharing, recurring revenue, stuff that didn't require her to be physically performing every single night.
There's a quote we found that captures this perfectly. I don't want to just sing. I want to make sure my voice creates something that lasts. That really shifts the whole frame, doesn't it? From just performance art to actual business strategy.
Absolutely. That financial foundation, it needed to work for her, whether she was actively touring or not. And that leads us perfectly into the second pillar of her strategy. This one required some serious self-belief, redefining the stage.
Okay, now we're talking about the Las Vegas residency. Right? Back in 2003, she announced a new day at Caesar's Palace. Today, residencies are common, but back then, wow, it was widely seen as like a soft retirement gig.
Yeah, or even a career killer for a global star. It was a huge strategic gamble, definitely, but it was calculated. She wasn't just going to play in some existing theater built for other acts. No, she committed to building the Coliseum.
That custom theater.
A custom $100 million theater designed specifically for her show, and then she settled in for, 717 performances just in the first 5 years.
But the risk must have felt enormous. Weren't critics basically saying she was trading global relevance for easy, repeatable money, that she just vanished from the global stage?
They were saying that, but I think they were early, and they fundamentally misunderstood her objective. Her goal wasn't necessarily global saturation every single year. It was about maximum output with minimum volatility. And look at the numbers.
Okay.
A New Day grossed over $385 million.
Yeah.
Then her second residency, Céline, added another $296.2 million on top of that.
Oh, that's over $680 million combined.
Exactly. It delivered predictable, massive income. It eliminated the grind of constant travel and logistics. And crucially, it allowed her maximum control over every single element of the production.
And for you, the listener, just think about that strategic advantage for a moment. Consistent work, consistently high revenue, and she got to raise her children in one place. She didn't just accept the standard touring model, she fundamentally redesigned her entire business track.
And in doing so, she redefined the whole entertainment landscape, really. The runaway success of her residency proved that Vegas could be a launch pad, not just a place where careers went to wind down.
Yeah, it created the blueprint.
It absolutely did. For Elton John, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, all those major artists who followed, it completely changed how people saw long-term live engagements in Vegas.
There's another quote that sums this up so well. I don't need to be everywhere. I just need to be exactly where I'm meant to be. It's almost paradoxical, isn't it? Sometimes the smartest way to have lasting global impact is to, well, stop moving around so much.
That's a great way to put it. Now, that kind of consistent high-level output, it demands a phenomenal internal engine, doesn't it? Which brings us nicely to pillar 3, discipline and mastery over momentum. Because the success of that business structure relies entirely on the quality of the product, the performance.
And what a product. We're talking over 230 million albums sold worldwide. Her tours have grossed, what, over $1.1 billion?
Yeah.
That kind of scale. It requires discipline that's just beyond normal expectations.
She seemed to view her voice not just as a natural gift, but as this hypersensitive instrument that needed constant, rigorous maintenance. The sources detail these almost obsessive daily habits. Well, we're talking hours dedicated just to adjusting breath control, posture, pitch, even for songs she'd sung thousands of times before, traveling everywhere with industrial-grade humidifiers, adhering to strict, often solitary vocal rest rules immediately after shows.
That dedication to the craft is just undeniable. But here's another interesting point. In an industry that's built on constant visibility, always being out there, always hustling, how do you maintain that kind of depth without losing momentum? Which takes us, I think, to pillar 4, creative restraint.
Yes, the ability to say no, that's huge. While other artists were constantly, rushing to stay visible, she seemed to practice this creative restraint. She prioritized quality over just generating commercial hype.
How so?
By avoiding certain commercial offers, turning down guest appearances if they didn't align perfectly with her core identity. She seemed very protective of the brand, refusing to dilute it just for short-term visibility.
So again, she wasn't just chasing the next hit song. She was building something designed to actually outlive the trends. It's like choosing routine over rush, depth over just noise.
Exactly. She avoided burning out the brand equity she'd worked so incredibly hard to build.
Makes sense. You can't just keep spending that equity.
Precisely. And that equity, that value, it's tied directly to pillar 5, power and legacy. This really focuses on control, because when the lights inevitably dim, what's left of the structure?
And what remained in her case was the fact that she owned so much of it. She co-founded Les Productions, Feeling Inc. Now, this seems like a structural anomaly in the music world, right?
It really is. Most artists, especially early on, sign away significant control. But she maintained essentially total command over her contracts, her image, her tour logistics, even her media appearances.
So that control meant she held real leverage. It wasn't just her name on things.
Specifically, by controlling her production company, she kept significant, often complete control over things like her master recordings, her distribution rights, the whole financial setup of her touring. It stopped external management from taking excessive cuts or making decisions that maybe didn't fit her long-term vision.
Her name was leverage, not just decoration. That's a key distinction. And that power, well, it becomes absolutely crucial when the unexpected happens. Which brings us to the final and maybe the most testing pillar, resilience and the design for absence.
This really is the ultimate test for any empire, isn't it? Can it actually survive the absence of its founder? And here we look at her decision-making after those devastating personal losses in 2016.
Yeah, losing her husband, Renee Angelil, and her brother.
And then her diagnosis in 2022 of stiff person syndrome, this rare neurological disorder that directly impacts her ability to perform.
Her choice, then, to step away for her health. You frame that as an act of power, of alignment with her values, not weakness.
Absolutely. Because she had already built this robust financial structure, supported by significant real estate holdings in Florida, Nevada, Paris, plus sustained licensing income, that was fundamentally designed to keep moving even when she physically couldn't.
So the career was engineered to work even in stillness.
That's a good way to put it. Furthermore, her approach to the diagnosis itself, which was highlighted in that 2024 documentary, I Am Céline Dion, it shows sustained brand control even then, by choosing transparency, vulnerability. She didn't diminish her cultural standing. Arguably, she deepened the empathy around her and solidified her lasting legacy.
Right. So true longevity isn't about being literally unstoppable. It's about building a structure that keeps running, even when you, the person, are forced to stop. That patient, precise strategy. That's the silent diva mindset.
She didn't just plan for success. I mean, most artists do that. She seemed to meticulously plan for setbacks, for absence. So when the performance has to pause, the architecture she built remains standing, it's ready for her eventual return, or it's strong enough to sustain her legacy indefinitely.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we explored how Céline Dion really chose her stage carefully, rather than chasing every single stage out there. How she traded moments, fleeting moments, for these long-term, durable financial models. The core question, maybe, for you to consider is this. Are you building something that only sings when you're physically present, pushing it forward every day? Or have you started implementing the kind of architecture that allows your effort, your value, to echo long after you step away? What is the one platform or system or structure you need to focus on building today, instead of just constantly chasing the next piece of fleeting hype? Something to think about.